Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Susie, the owner and creator here at Susie on the Farm. In today's video, I have a few handmade gift ideas that you can give to teachers. I like to do the cleaning lady, the mailman, just some little gifts, and everyone loves to have something handmade. These are easy, last-minute DIYs that you can do, and I hope that you enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and get started. For today's first DIY, throughout the year, I'm looking for inexpensive Christmas tins. They're everywhere, and you can usually get them for next to nothing. I think I paid 49 cents for these. So I've got a few round ones, some square ones, and a larger rectangle one. And I'm going to make these pretty so I can give some homemade goodies in them. So of course the first thing you're going to do is get all the tags off. I like to use Goo Gone to get the glue, and then I give them a good wash with a baby wipe or Dawn dish soap on a wet rag. And somehow I got all this painting off camera, but y'all know you've seen me paint a few things before. So I'm going to give each and every one of these just to make it easy. I'm going to do them all the same color, and I'm using Fusion in the color Bellwood. It's a very soft green color, and I think it goes with just about anything. And all I'm going to do on all these tins is I'm going to use up a bunch of my transfer leftovers. Some of these come from last year's pack that I still had a pretty good bit of, and some of them from this year. This particular one is from the Candy Cane Cottage. It has all these beautiful rose florals that I think are absolutely gorgeous for Christmas. I've never thought about roses before, but I'm thinking next year that I might incorporate that some in my Christmas decor. On the round one, I'm going to use the wreaths this is from the Fairy Merry Christmas transfer pack from this year. All of these are sold out. IOD with their Christmas releases are always limited. So as stockists, we have to pre-order. So we usually pre-order as much as we can possibly afford, because every one of them, they're going to sell out in no time. So I'm out of these, as is every other stockist that I know of. But if you got one, there's lots of great ideas that you can put on tins. If you don't, you can always stamp. There's lots of stickers you could put on them. Just lots of different things. And if you don't necessarily have to do a Christmas transfer either if you have something else. But I'm going to use up all my Christmas scraps. You can see there that I scratched the paint just a little bit on this one. That's no problem. I just went back over it and let it dry really good before I sealed them in. If you've never used an IOD transfer before, they're super easy. You just peel the white backing off, and then each of the transfer packs comes with this little plastic tool where you rub it until it releases onto your project. Once you have it all released, you take the plastic backing and you go back over it, and that is called burnishing. So I'm going to finish up getting all these transfers on the round ones. You can also, any transfer you can layer. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting these wreaths on the round ones, and then as you can see, the other one I layered with a little deer. I think that deer came from last year's Christmas Valley transfer pack. And then I also have a few birds left over from last year. So for this one, I am going to put a little bird in the center of the wreath. And then all these tins are done. I am going to make some homemade sausage balls and put these in here for a few different people. And that is that. That's how easy that is. And now the people can eat the goodies inside, and then they can save these pretty tins to incorporate into their Christmas decor. For DIY project number 2, I thrifted a big bag of all these little wood cutouts. There's some ornaments, some trees, some snowflakes. There was also some big trees that I'm saving for something else. So we're going to do up all these little wooden ornaments to give as gifts. So the first thing I'm going to do in the trees is drill a little hole in the top to put the hanger in. I tried to do that with the snowflake, but I broke one of them, so we'll just do a different way of putting a hanger on them. And then I'm going to use up some of my old paint. I have a bunch of Waverly chalk paint that I need to use. This is a beautiful green color. It kind of matches the bellwood. It's a little bit darker, but it's called moss. So I'm going to put this all over the Christmas trees. I'm doing front, back, and sides. And for the snowflakes, y'all know how much I'm in love with this bronze metallic. So I'm just going to come in and use the bronze metallic. I'm having to kind of swirl it in. That way it gets all in the sides and everything. And I only had 2 of these, and there's not much else you can do with them. So I went ahead and painted them in the bronze color. And then for the ornaments, I am going to go ahead and paint all of them white. I noticed the ornaments had this paper backing on them, and that actually took longer than anything else figuring out how to get this off. But I did finally get it off of them and give them 2 coats of white paint. I did the front, the back, and the sides. And then for these little ornaments, we're going to come in with some stamps. Last year, IOD had this cozy stamp set. I am out of it too. Like I said, all the Christmas releases are usually limited edition. So if you need to get them when they first come out, or they will sell out. So I'm going to take my ink pad and go around the edges. And then this is a cute little prancing reindeer that I'm going to stamp on this one. And that pack also comes with this little saying that says sweater weather, and another one that says stay cozy. And I think they're so cute, and they fit absolutely perfect on these ornaments. I actually, in my mind, I wanted to use the kittens and the puppies from this year, but they were just a little too large, and all it was going to have was basically just their face. So I went ahead and did these, and I stamped the words stay cozy and sweater weather, went around the edges, and then I finished them off with some ribbon. And we'll move back on to, I think, the Christmas trees next. For these trees, once they have dried, again, I'm going to use a bunch of transfer scraps, and that's literally what most of these are, except for I did have these 3 birds left. I think they came from last year's Christmas, or there's lots of transfers that have birds in them. I can even think of a few offhand, but I know Whispering Willow does. But this cardinal definitely was in last year's Christmas. So I'm going to put birds on one side, and then I'm just going to fill up the other side with some greenery and maybe put some stems and stuff under the bird. And I had another one of these beautiful roses, so I put it on the back of one of them. Like I said, this green color goes with everything, and I wanted to kind of make all these somewhat coordinating. For our family gatherings, we usually only get the kids something. So for the adults, I thought this year that I would take just a basket of handmade ornaments and let someone pick out. I'll put a cute little tag that says Handmade for You by Susie on the Farm. And those will be just a neat little ornament for people to hang on their tree and remember that it was handmade. For DIY number 3, I had poured up a bunch of resin castings. This is from the frames mold, and I was working on it. I had already painted it white, but for this project, I'm going to go in and paint this frame black. These IOD molds have so much detail in them, and I knew that I wanted a certain color scheme for this one. These are going to be to give away in like a Secret Santa gift. The tree, what they decided to do at my daughter's work was just do ornaments, and they wrote down what their colors were and their theme was. And so I had a couple of different color schemes to do with this. I will show you how to pour up the resin in the next project, so stay tuned for that. And just so you know, I do have all these products available, or most of the products that I'm using today available on my website, www.susieonthefarm.com. I sell the IOD and the Fusion paint, and I'm not using, yes, I am using some in this video. It's the Roycycled Decoupage paper. So I'm going to get this all painted up black, and then we're going to move on to the next step. I also painted this deer head white and this cute little bow. These are in the Jingle mold. I painted them white and gold, and then I'm just going to hot glue them into the frame. I should have done the last step before I hot glued these, but that's okay. It worked out. And I'm also going to paint up the back and clean it up really well. And I'm going to hot glue a buffalo check ribbon on it. I always like to finish up the back of my projects too, just to make them look complete. So I'm going to do a couple coats of black on the back, let that dry, and then I'm going to hot glue a ribbon on there for the hanger. Finally, for the last step, I'm going to take some antique gold rub and buff and just put it on my finger, and then I'm going to highlight all the raised areas of the mold, and this just absolutely completes this project. It would have been easier to do this before I put the deer on. That way I could have got all around the frame, but I did get it, and this is absolutely my favorite. It's so stinking beautiful. It's gorgeous, y'all. Look at this. Can you imagine just a whole tree in this color scheme? And then off camera, I did another color scheme as well. I love these. Project number 4, I'm going to be using some of the resin castings, and I have a few scraps left over from the Roycycled Decoupage paper. This is the Christmas masterboard. It's got a lot of beautiful traditional colors, and it's just so beautiful. So I found 3 frames and 3 scraps. These are really scraps. As you can see, the one there has some paint splatter on it that I did. I almost threw it away, but then I thought, well, it actually kind of looks like snowflakes falling around the deer. So we're going to go ahead and decoupage that in the center of this frame. Normally I use a little small starter strip, but when you're working with such a small area, it's easy to just do the whole thing. So I put my Fusion transfer gel down, and then I went back over the top of the deer with another layer. And I did that on 2 other frames. I just kind of figured out what would fit. Now, to highlight all those gorgeous details, I'm going to come back and with some of the Fusion aging wax, and I'm going to go over this white. Every time I put wax on top of a bright white, I think, oh my gosh, I have ruined this. It looks horrible. But then I take the paper towel and wipe some of it back, and it is gorgeous. And I have learned not to panic, that it's going to look amazing. And this absolutely does. I finished up all 3 of the frames with the decoupage, and now they are a matching set. These are perfect to give away as a set of 3. I like to do at least 3 of something like this. For the hangers, you can drill directly into this resin. So I just drilled a small hole and I put a little white string hanger on these. For today's last project, this is IOD's bobble mold. I had previously poured up a few of these ornaments, and I used the 24-hour resin. It dries clear, but we are going to make them like 3-dimensional here. So I'm going to use the 10-minute casting resin. This is a quick dry. It's very easy to use, but you don't have a lot of time to waste. So all you do is mix A and B together, equal parts, and you stir it. You need to mix it up really well, but you need to hurry. I try to stir it for like less than a minute, and then quickly pour all of these up. I mean, you don't have to race and do it, but you don't need to waste any time because this does start setting up pretty quickly. So I poured a few of these up, and then I'm going to take my previous castings and I'm going to lay them in to the wet resin so that they will fuse together. But as I'm doing that, I'm going to take some ribbon to make a hanger. You could also use like floral wire or some jute twine, but I decided to do ribbon on these. And this is actually my first time ever doing this. Y'all would not believe how many times you see me do something, teach you how to do something, when it's actually the first time I've ever done it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it gets scrapped. Luckily, this one did work out and these fused together so perfectly. I do recommend kind of pouring a little extra into your mold so you don't have to push your top ornament down in there so much. So this is after about 8 minutes. They're almost fully cured. As you can see, the 10-minute resin dries white, but that's okay. You know, we're going to paint all these up anyway, but these are so gorgeous and they're absolutely handmade. And the details on these molds are so amazing. So for the last step, we are going to bring that out. This will be a matching set. It'll be a perfect gift for someone in your life, and you can coordinate the colors to whatever they like. So I pulled all these out, and then I'm going to come back with some of the copper metallic paint by Fusion. When I first got these metallic colors, I was like, I'm never going to use these. But then I tried them, and I'm like, oh, these are gorgeous. This copper color is so beautiful, and the coverage is really great on it. When you think about a metallic, if you're a crafter or DIYer, you know metallics are kind of hard to work with. It usually takes several coats, but these really cover so well. So I think I only had to do 1 coat of the copper over all of these castings. And once I got them all painted up, I'm going to use some of the aging wax just to tone it down just a tad. It's beautiful, but I'm a more muted antique looking, and I know that it's going to stay in all these details of these molds and look so gorgeous. With the aging wax, all that you do is brush it onto your project. I like to use just a cheap little brush, get it down in all those details. I let it sit just while I'm finishing up the others, and then I take a dry paper towel and wipe it back, and it highlights, like I said, all of those gorgeous details on the mold and just really completes this project. These turned out so beautiful, and the possibilities are endless with all the colors you can do. I have seen people do some amazing painting on these bobble molds. For me, personally, I like the simple 1 color and then highlighting it, but there is really some amazing colors out there that you can use. hope that y'all have enjoyed today's video and that it's given you some inspiration for some quick, easy DIY gifts that you can give away this Christmas. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you again next week.